Sometimes the truth doesn't heal you first, it breaks you open, and only then does it begin to set you free. Welcome to Stoic Valor, where every word is meant to awaken your inner strength and remind you that peace isn't found in comfort. It's forged in fire. There's a moment in every life when silence feels like a scream, when everything you believed should make you happy fails to deliver. When success feels hollow, love turns fragile, and meaning slips like sand between your fingers. It's in that space where illusion dies that Stoicism begins. The Stoics didn't promise happiness. They promised freedom, and freedom often starts where comfort ends. To understand the 6 brutal Stoic truths that will make you cry but eventually liberate you, we must first dismantle the illusions that keep you chained. The first illusion is that you are owed something by the world. Epictetus warned, "Do not seek for events to happen as you wish, but wish for them to happen as they do, and your life will flow smoothly." These words sound simple, but they are a dagger to the modern ego. We live in a time where we are taught to expect recognition, validation, fairness. The Stoics knew better. The world owes you nothing. It gives you existence, and that is already everything. Seneca wrote that misfortune is the test of a great spirit. When you strip away entitlement, what remains is raw, untamed strength. It's not weakness that breaks people, it's their expectations. The moment you stop expecting life to be easy, it stops feeling unfair. The pain doesn't vanish, but it transforms. It becomes fuel, direction, and depth. The second illusion is that your emotions are facts. Stoicism never asked you to suppress emotion. It asked you to govern it. Marcus Aurelius faced betrayal, disease, and war, yet he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That line isn't just philosophy, it's survival. The Stoic doesn't fight the storm. He becomes the calm within it. In a world obsessed with expressing every feeling, Stoicism teaches restraint, not out of coldness, but clarity. When your mind is unguarded, every insult becomes a wound, every delay becomes torture, every loss becomes identity. But when you master perception, life cannot enslave you. This mastery isn't about denial, it's about definition. You feel the emotion, but you do not become it. Imagine you're standing in the middle of a storm, wind tearing at your clothes, rain soaking through your skin. You can scream at the sky, or you can stand tall, breathe deeply, and whisper, "This too is part of me." That's the essence of Stoicism, not running from pain, but embracing it as a teacher. The third illusion is that you have control over others. The Stoics taught that control is a narrow circle. Your thoughts, your actions, your attitude. Everything else lies beyond your reach. Yet most of our suffering comes from trying to move what isn't ours to move. We beg for love to stay, for people to change, for the world to be fair. But every ounce of energy spent on what we cannot control is energy stolen from what we can, ourselves. Epictetus compared this to playing a game. You can play your best hand, but you don't control the cards. You can't control whether the sea is calm, but you can control how you steer the ship. The Serenity Prayer, though not Stoic by origin, echoes this truth. Courage to change what you can, serenity to accept what you can't, and wisdom to know the difference. Modern writers like Ryan Holiday and James Clear echo this wisdom in a world that confuses control with influence. Holiday reminds us, the obstacle is the way. The very thing you resist may be the doorway to your transformation. The Stoic doesn't seek comfort. He seeks alignment with reality. The fourth illusion is that pain is punishment. In truth, pain is purification. Seneca believed that adversity introduces us to ourselves, that the fire refines the soul. You cannot cultivate resilience without resistance. Modern comfort culture hides this truth behind dopamine and distraction. But a mind that never suffers, never strengthens. There's a reason athletes push through exhaustion. Soldiers endure cold and hunger, and philosophers embrace solitude, because on the other side of pain lies freedom from dependency. When you stop fearing discomfort, you stop being its slave. Every hardship you endure becomes a currency you invest in your future self. The fifth illusion is that happiness is something to pursue. The Stoics taught that it is something to embody. Epictetus said, "He who is not content with what he has will not be content even with what he wishes to have." This is not about settling. It's about seeing. Happiness is not in acquisition, but in alignment. When your actions mirror your principles, when your mind and heart move as one. In today's world, happiness is packaged as consumption, new goals, new possessions, new validations. But the Stoic seeks joy in mastery and self-command. To be happy, you must learn to desire less, not more. The less you need, the freer you become. The sixth and final illusion, the hardest to accept, is that time is abundant. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. Memento mori, remember that you will die." To most, these words sound dark. To the Stoic, they are illumination. Because when you remember death, you remember life. You stop wasting time on pettiness, procrastination, and fear. You stop living as though eternity is promised. When you truly face mortality, clarity arrives. Every sunrise becomes sacred. Every breath feels like a gift you've been borrowing. You stop chasing approval because you realize all of it, every opinion, every applause, every status symbol, turns to dust. What remains is who you became when the world wasn't watching. The Stoics weren't gods. They were men, flawed, mortal, uncertain, who faced chaos with discipline and found peace in acceptance. They didn't deny emotion. They transcended attachment. They didn't seek happiness. They sought virtue, and in that pursuit, they discovered something unbreakable. Serenity amidst suffering, freedom within limitation. If you truly wish to be free, you must be willing to face these truths, not with fear, but with reverence. Let them unsettle you. Let them dismantle the false comforts that keep you small. Because on the other side of discomfort lies awakening. The Stoics believed that life's brutality is not cruelty, it is craftsmanship. The universe shapes you through adversity, not affection. So let these words echo within you. You are not here to avoid pain. You are here to master it. You are not here to control the world. You are here to command your own mind. You are not here to live forever. You are here to live right now, fully, fiercely, freely, because sometimes the truth doesn't set you free immediately. It shatters the illusions first. It breaks the cage so that the bird can finally remember it was meant to fly. Freedom doesn't begin with philosophy. It begins with practice. The Stoics were not armchair thinkers. They were warriors of the inner world. For them, every day was a battlefield between impulse and intention, between reaction and reason. The question is not whether you understand Stoicism, but whether you live it when everything inside you wants to break. Let's begin with the morning, the most sacred battlefield of the soul. Marcus Aurelius began his days by reminding himself, "When you wake up, remember that today you will meet ungrateful, deceitful, arrogant, jealous people." He didn't say this to breed bitterness. He said it to armor the mind with expectation. Before the world could hurt him, he had already accepted its nature. That is your first Stoic exercise, premeditation of adversity. Each morning, imagine what could go wrong. The betrayal, the delay, the rejection, and then visualize yourself meeting it with calm, not chaos. By doing this, you are no longer a victim of surprise. You've already met the storm in your mind. When you begin the day this way, you strip life of its power to shock you. You awaken not with dread, but readiness. Epictetus would tell his students that events do not disturb us. Our opinions about them do. Every time you practice calm preparation, you reclaim that truth. You learn to respond instead of react. The second daily practice is voluntary discomfort. In a world obsessed with ease, the Stoic trains for hardship. Cold showers, walking instead of driving, fasting, waking earlier than you want. These are not acts of masochism. They are exercises in sovereignty. When you choose discomfort, you teach your mind that comfort no longer controls you. Seneca wrote, "Set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest fare and with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself, 'Is this the condition I feared?'" This is the Stoic vaccine against fear, deliberate exposure to simplicity. When you practice having less, you discover how little you actually need. The third practice is journaling, not as a diary of emotion, but as a discipline of clarity. Marcus Aurelius's Meditations were his private reflections, never written for fame, only for mastery. Each night he would review his day. Where did I fail to remain calm? What did I do well? What can I improve tomorrow? This nightly reflection turns life into a classroom. You become both student and teacher of your own mind. Try this tonight. Before bed, write 3 lines. 1 for gratitude, 1 for growth, 1 for letting go. Gratitude for something that grounded you. Growth for something you learned, no matter how small. And letting go for something you choose not to carry into tomorrow. It's not the length that matters, it's the honesty. The Stoics sought truth not in philosophy books, but in their own behavior. The fourth practice is intentional speech. Stoicism teaches that words are tools of reason, not weapons of impulse. Before speaking, ask, is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? Silence to the Stoic is not emptiness, it's elegance. Epictetus warned that gossip, anger, and complaints weaken the soul because they scatter the mind's energy outward. Every time you speak from emotion instead of clarity, you surrender a piece of your control. The next time you feel rage rising in your chest, pause. Count to 3. Breathe through your nose. Ask yourself, what would a wise person say here? And if no wise words arise, remain silent. The fifth practice is amor fati, love of fate. This is perhaps the most radical Stoic idea, to not only accept what happens, but to love it. Ryan Holiday calls it the formula for greatness. Amor fati means embracing every experience, joy, heartbreak, failure, loss, as necessary for your growth. The Stoic doesn't resist life's currents. He flows with them, knowing that even pain can serve purpose. Imagine a sculptor chiseling stone. Each strike seems destructive, yet every blow reveals form. Life does the same with you. Amor fati is saying, strike me if you must. I trust the sculptor. Now let's make this practical. Think of a moment when something didn't go as planned. Maybe you lost a job, a friend, or an opportunity. Your first impulse might be despair or anger. But pause. What if this event is not happening to you, but for you? What if life is redirecting you, refining you, preparing you for strength you cannot yet see? This shift, from resistance to reverence, changes everything. You don't need to know why things happen to benefit from them. You only need to stay open long enough to learn. The sixth practice is negative visualization. This is one of Stoicism's most powerful mental tools, yet it terrifies most people. It means to visualize the loss of what you love, not to invite grief, but gratitude. Picture the absence of the people you care for, the comfort you take for granted, the health you currently enjoy. Let the thought sting you for a moment. Then breathe and return to reality. Everything you have just imagined losing still exists. That is the miracle. By facing impermanence, you awaken appreciation. The Stoic doesn't take life for granted because he knows it's borrowed. Modern psychology calls this contrast therapy. But the Stoics discovered it 2,000 years ago. It's how they trained joy, not through abundance, but through awareness. When you can look at your life and say, this could be gone tomorrow, you stop scrolling, stop rushing, stop complaining. You start living. The seventh and final practice is reflection through solitude. Most people fear silence because it reveals their noise. The Stoics sought solitude not to escape life, but to return to it with clarity. Each day, even for 10 minutes, sit without music, without phone, without distraction. Let your thoughts rise. Don't chase them. Don't judge them. Just observe. This is where your inner fortress is built, one breath at a time. As you do this, remember, Stoicism is not about being unfeeling. It's about being unshakable. It's not about suppressing emotions, it's about mastering them. When your peace no longer depends on circumstance, you've entered the realm of freedom. Imagine this. You wake up tomorrow and everything goes wrong. Your plans collapse. Someone you trusted disappoints you. You feel the familiar sting of frustration. But this time, you smile. Not because you enjoy suffering, but because you recognize it. You whisper to yourself, "Here's my training." You walk through the storm as if it were a familiar hallway. That is Stoic power, not immunity but mastery, and slowly something extraordinary happens. Life stops feeling like a battle to survive and starts feeling like a practice to perfect. Every challenge becomes an invitation to apply what you've learned. Every insult becomes a test of patience. Every delay becomes a meditation on control. Every loss becomes a lesson in letting go. The Stoics knew that you cannot control the external world, but you can transform your inner one until even chaos becomes peace. The outer storm will rage, but inside there will be silence. And that silence, that deep, steady calm, is what freedom feels like. So begin now. Don't wait for ideal conditions. Don't wait until you feel ready. Start with the next thought, the next breath, the next decision. Life is short, but discipline makes it deep. If this message is resonating with you, if something in your soul feels like it's awakening, don't forget to subscribe to Stoic Valor, because here we don't just reflect, we transform. There's something almost tragic about our modern world. We have more comfort, more access, more technology, and yet less peace. We scroll through oceans of distraction, chasing meaning in pixels, validation in hearts and likes. We've traded presence for performance, reflection for reaction. And in this noise, the Stoic voice feels ancient, yet necessary. Because the truth is, we are not suffering from lack of abundance, but from lack of alignment. Picture this. A man loses his job. His savings vanish. His confidence crumbles. In panic, he searches for someone to blame, the system, his boss, the economy. But one night, after days of rage and despair, he sits in silence. And in that silence, a small question rises. What can I still control? That moment, that shift from complaint to command, is the rebirth of his strength. He begins waking early, journaling his thoughts, reading meditations. He takes a temporary job he once thought beneath him. He saves again. Months later, the man who thought he had lost everything realizes he had gained something greater, himself. That is the Stoic journey. It begins not with victory, but with surrender, the surrender of illusion. Let's look at another. A woman betrayed by the person she trusted most. Her heart fractures. The pain feels unbearable. She spends nights replaying every detail, asking why. But one morning, something shifts. She recalls a quote from Epictetus: "We suffer not from the events in our lives, but from our judgments about them." Slowly, she begins to see the betrayal not as the end of love, but the beginning of understanding. She learns boundaries, discernment, strength. She stops seeking closure from others and starts creating it within. Months later, she is not the same. Pain became her mentor. Stoicism does not numb your feelings, it refines them. It turns agony into awareness. It turns chaos into clarity. We see this philosophy mirrored in modern figures too. Ryan Holiday, in The Obstacle is the Way, writes about how failure becomes fuel, how even ruin can be a roadmap to strength. James Clear speaks of habits as identity, how the small choices we make daily shape the person we become. These ideas are not modern inventions, they are ancient echoes. Marcus Aurelius said, "What you do today is what matters." James Clear says, "Every action is a vote for the kind of person you want to be." The language changed. The truth didn't. Take the athlete who tears a ligament before the biggest event of his career. The old version of him, attached to outcome, praise, and title, would collapse in despair. But this time, he sees the pain as practice. He studies recovery. He meditates on impermanence. He discovers patience where there was once only ambition. When he returns, he competes not for glory but for mastery. His performance improves, but his peace deepens. He realizes that winning was never about the medal. It was about the mind, or the entrepreneur who fails publicly, mocked, dismissed, humiliated. The easy path is to quit. The Stoic path is to learn. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." The entrepreneur stops wasting energy on shame. He analyzes, adapts, and rebuilds. Failure becomes feedback. He rises, not because he avoided defeat, but because he used it as material. Modern life is a test the Stoics predicted, a world full of abundance and anxiety, comfort and chaos, speed and emptiness. The Stoic is not nostalgic for the past. He is awake in the present. When everyone else reacts, he reflects. When everyone seeks control, he seeks composure. When everyone rushes to speak, he chooses silence. Think about the world we live in. Constant outrage, endless opinions, comparison disguised as inspiration. Marcus Aurelius would look at this digital storm and simply say, "You become what you give your attention to." The algorithm feeds your mind the same way food feeds your body. If you consume noise, you'll think in noise. If you feed on virtue, you'll act with virtue. Your peace depends on what you permit to enter your consciousness. Let's bring this closer. Imagine you're scrolling late at night. Someone posts a success, a new job, a new home, a perfect life. A quiet envy burns inside you. The Stoic approach is not to shame yourself for jealousy, but to examine it. Why do I feel this way? What am I lacking in myself that I seek in their image? This is Stoic mindfulness, turning emotion into inquiry. The Stoic doesn't suppress. He studies. Every feeling becomes a teacher, even in traffic, even in arguments, even in heartbreak. Every disturbance is an opportunity. Seneca called it the gymnasium of the soul. You train not by lifting weights, but by lifting thoughts. The goal is not a calm life. It's a calm mind within a chaotic life. And then there's loss, the great test of all philosophies. When someone you love dies, Stoicism doesn't tell you not to cry. It tells you to cry with purpose. Marcus Aurelius lost children. Epictetus lived as a slave. Seneca was ordered to die by his own hand. Yet they found peace, not by denying grief, but by accepting death as the natural rhythm of existence. The Stoic heart doesn't resist impermanence. It reveres it. Love deeply, they said, but hold lightly, because every person you cherish, every sunrise you see, is on loan. That awareness turns sorrow into sanctity. Modern Stoicism has found its way into therapy, leadership, and even military training. Navy SEALs meditate on Stoic principles before missions. Executives use negative visualization to handle pressure. Artists use amor fati to embrace criticism. Stoicism isn't just for philosophers. It's for anyone who bleeds, breaks, and keeps walking. Consider this contrast. Two people face the same storm. One curses the wind, the other adjusts the sails. One sees misfortune, the other sees material. One becomes bitter, the other becomes wise. The difference isn't circumstance, it's perspective. That is Stoicism distilled, the art of mastering perception. Mark Manson once said, "You can't control what happens, but you can always control what it means." That's a modern translation of Epictetus. Meaning is the final frontier of freedom. When you choose the meaning of your suffering, the suffering loses its power to define you. We live in an age where feelings are worshipped and discipline is forgotten. Stoicism invites balance. To feel deeply but act wisely. To love fully but remain free. To give everything but depend on nothing. That's not suppression. That's sovereignty. There's a man who practices Stoicism every morning on his commute. He doesn't post quotes or wear robes. He simply breathes before reacting. When someone cuts him off in traffic, he smiles. Not because he enjoys it, but because he sees it as training. Each insult, each delay is a rep in the gym of endurance. No one applauds him. No one notices. But in that silent strength, there's mastery. He doesn't control the world, but the world no longer controls him. That's what it means to be Stoic today. Not to escape emotion, but to evolve through it. To live in chaos without becoming chaotic. To stand still when everything shakes. To walk through the noise untouched, like fire that burns yet purifies. And in the end, Stoicism is not about pretending to be strong. It's about remembering that you already are. There comes a moment when all the Stoic teachings converge, when philosophy stops being words and becomes blood. That moment usually arrives when life strips away what you thought you couldn't live without. It might be a relationship, a dream, a sense of control. You fight, you beg, you resist, but at some point you fall silent. And in that silence, something ancient stirs. The realization that everything you need to endure has always been inside you. The Stoics didn't promise a painless life. They promised a meaningful one. They knew that peace isn't the absence of chaos, it's the stillness that survives it. Epictetus said, "Circumstances don't make the man, they only reveal him to himself." Every struggle, every heartbreak, every disappointment is not punishment, it's revelation. You are being shown who you really are when comfort is gone. Freedom begins when resistance ends. Seneca taught that we suffer more in imagination than in reality, that our fears are ghosts we feed with thought. The Stoic way is not to destroy fear, but to see through it. Once you realize that pain, rejection, and even death are part of nature, the terror dissolves. What's left is not weakness, but wonder, the profound calm of someone who finally accepts life on life's terms. Look around you. Everyone is chasing. More money, more validation, more distraction, yet no one is satisfied. The Stoic doesn't chase, he chooses. He chooses to act with intention, to speak with clarity, to love with courage, and to let go when the time comes. That's the quiet revolution of Stoicism, not in conquering others, but in mastering oneself. You can begin right now. Stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What is this teaching me?" Stop saying, "I can't take this," and start saying, "I'm being trained by this." Every difficulty is an invitation to practice virtue. When you are wronged, practice patience. When you are ignored, practice humility. When you are afraid, practice courage. The world becomes your classroom, and pain your most honest instructor. There's a story about a Roman general who, after losing a battle, returned home not in disgrace, but in peace. When asked how he could remain calm after failure, he said, "Because I did my duty with honor. The outcome was never mine to control." That is the Stoic creed. Do your best, release the rest. When you live by that principle, a strange thing happens. Life stops feeling like an enemy. You stop fighting time, people, and fate. You start cooperating with reality. Amor fati, love your fate. Not tolerate it, not endure it, love it. Every scar becomes a symbol of strength. Every failure, a forge. Every ending, a new beginning disguised in shadow. Modern society celebrates success, but the Stoic celebrates growth. Success is external, growth is eternal. Stoicism is the art of playing a short life well, because you don't control the length of your days, but you do control their depth. And depth is born from awareness. So ask yourself, what if everything that has ever hurt you wasn't meant to destroy you, but to sculpt you? What if the pain you're avoiding is the path you need to walk? What if your greatest freedom lies not in changing your life, but in changing your relationship with it? Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." That is the Stoic form of prayer, not begging the universe to change, but thanking it for another chance to practice. Gratitude turns survival into serenity, and here's the hardest truth. No one is coming to save you. Not tomorrow, not someday, not anyone. The Stoic path is lonely because it demands accountability. You are both the problem and the solution. The good news, that means your freedom is in your hands. Once you stop waiting to be rescued, you begin to rise, so breathe. Feel the weight of everything you've endured, all the heartbreaks, disappointments, failures. You're still here. You've survived storms you thought would kill you. You've lost things you thought you couldn't live without, and yet your heart still beats. That's strength. That's Stoicism, lived, not spoken. Now carry that awareness forward. The next time life pushes you to the edge, whisper to yourself, "This is not happening to me. This is happening for me." Stand tall in your pain. Love your fate. Let the fire refine you, not consume you. And when silence surrounds you again, when the world feels cold and the path unclear, remember what the Stoics knew. The calm you seek is not out there. It's within you. Always has been, always will be, because sometimes the truth that makes you cry is the one that finally sets you free. So if these words resonated with you, if you felt something awaken, subscribe to Stoic Valor. Share this message with someone who needs strength. Leave a comment on what truth hit you hardest. And above all, start practicing. Don't just watch wisdom, live it. Your freedom doesn't begin tomorrow. It begins now.